Hi everyone, welcome to the Infomotion Design Recording class for week 5. Today we're going to learn something exciting and hands-on. We'll be diving into the world of infographic design and discovering how to transform maybe a boring infographics into a jaw-dropping visual masterpiece. By the end of this lecture, I assure you'll be inspired to redesign your assignment 2 with the newfound creativity and techniques. So get ready to unlock your creative potential as we embark on this exciting journey of infographic development. Let's dive in and get started. So here is the steps that involve in producing a quality check for your infographic. So the first one is identify a problem. Step 2 is research. Step 3 is making choice based on the research. Step 4 is develop the idea, and then step 5 is we revise back our final output. I hope you stay tuned until the very end of the lecture. Why? Because at the end I will be sharing my personal tips on how to enhance and tweak your infographic design. So make sure to stick around for some valuable insight that will help you take your infographic to the next level. Okay, we go for the first step. Identify a problem. So this is the example that we're going to talk about the whole lecture for today. So it's about the weather forecast in Ilai. So actually it's not a forecast, but I think suppose the title should be the observation, because forecast mean that you predict for the next few days or month of the weather, but this is a research done to gain the data for 3 days of the weather. Anyhow, the first problem that we identify is there are too many text and numbers that involved in this infographic. So there is no distinction between the data, and then there is no icon that involve that represent the data title itself. And if you can see, instead of temperature, it's better we put the icon of temperature like this one. You can see the first one. Or wind we replace with this kind of icon. Humidity that represent the water, the kelembapan represent with the water here, water droplet. And the barometer, the device thing. So wording in this infographic can lead to a boring presentation. So by adding the icon and the visual elements, it will spice up your presentation of infographic. So personally, I prefer the icon we have a single color, like this one, the first one. Okay, and then the barometer is the last one, the single color. So right now I want to show you how we gonna get the idea for each of the title here, the data here, how we gonna get the idea of icon. So in the Google image, try to type sample of our icon. For example, we try to temperature icon. Okay, so you can see there's a lot of sample and idea that you can choose from in creating the icon for the temperature. Okay, next, the problem that we identify is an unsuitable visual element. As you can see, they're using they want to create the kind of insert or fill up element, but the element is not related at all. For example, the leaf, and then maybe this is a flying grass, and then obviously this one is a grass and the stone. If we look at the sample that we find from the internet that related to the weather forecast, we can see that they have a quite simple and clean design. For example, the last example, maybe you can use as an idea in produce a visual element that represent the leaf and the dust over here. So you can see it's kind of crowded here, but still, because of they're using the designer tend to use a color that quite contrast, quite dull, so that it's not too chaotic to the design. Okay, can see this one, the first one is very simple and clean. Same goes to the second one. It's quite arrangement and the hierarchy. You can see the arrangement, the alignment is quite nice. So I want to show you in the example what element when you search in the Google that meet the title of the weather here. Okay, let's say we search for the weather. What element can we see in the Google? So usually they will use the all icon, all the, there's no pattern that involve, only the shape of the weather itself. Either it's a stormy, it's a cloudy, it's rainy. Next, the third problem is the distort images. It always happen to the student. During my time also, when I'm a student, I'll make this kind of mistake. So sometimes it can be accident, or sometimes you don't know how to heal or repair your design back. So here is the tips. How do you want to repair back your distort graphic? Okay, let's say you have this icon and then suddenly you make a mistake by you distort it like this because you want to fill up the gap, or you want to fulfill the white space in your design. So this is very wrong. What you have to do is, when you try to resize it, try to use the corner over here while holding a shift and drag it. Okay, don't ever use this one. I don't know, maybe you already learned about this one, but still I sure you guys still can make this kind of mistake. So make sure you use a corner to resize. Next, problem number 4, there is too many colors in the infographic. So after I counted, it has almost 12 colors that involved in this design. So in principle, try to avoid using too many color. The best is 3 to 5 color only. So if you ever enter a poster competition during your primary school or your secondary school, sometimes the organizer set the maximum color is up to 3 color only, if you realize because from there you can try to use your creativity or try to use your skill about color to choose the best color that suit for your background, for your foreground, for your subject. Okay, for those who is taking visual communication with me previously, please read back about color that I mentioned, about the color scheme in the visual communication class. If you are not from my class, you can do a little bit research about the color scheme. Just a quick catch up about color. There's several techniques in choosing a color for your design. Here I list 3 basic color scheme. Please explore yourself when you start to modify or repair your infographic. So the first one is a complementary color. It is the opposite color. Okay, you can see if you choose orange, the opposite color should be blue. Let's say your background is a blue, the text or the main subject should be orange. Okay, so next is an analogous color. Analogous color mean a side by side color. Let's say the main color is a dark blue, so the light blue or sky blue is gonna be the second, and purple over here will be gonna be a third color. Okay, so the last one is a triadic. Triadic is a color that equally spaced around the wheel. So let's say if the main color is a maroon over here, the second color should be the sky blue, and then the third color it should be the light orange. So you can try to experiment about color using Adobe Color. So I will explain you a little bit about Adobe Color. So here is a Adobe Color website. From here, as mentioned just now, it's a monochromatic, complementary, all those color. Let's say we set the first color, the main color, the key color here. Let's say I set the color to orange here. So when I choose a complementary, automatically this is the main color. It's gonna be a 5 different color over here. If I choose a different type of color rule over here, you can see. Okay, you can explore by yourself after this. Next thing I want to share with you is regarding the explore color. So explore color, you can type anything that related to your topic and then you get the idea of the color. For example, we're talking about the weather. We talk weather over here, then there we give a suggestion the type of color that's suitable when you're creating something that related to weather. So you can see the color is quite nice. Get an idea of the color. Even they share the image that related to the color. Okay. You also can use image as a reference, and then Adobe Color will produce the color based on that image. The fifth problem is unsuitable background color. So for infographic, it's not suitable to use a gradient style of color unless your data is very clean and organized. Then you can use it. But most of a professional designer try to avoid using a gradient because you need to think about two color that involve as a background and color that's suitable for the foreground or the subject. In the sample work here, the designer tend to use a sky blue color, and then they try to create a gradient effect of it. So to change that, try to use a solid color like this, that it will create a consistent color so that our text color and the background color will become a consistent and complementary to each other. Okay, number 6. The problem is poor choice of the font. Choosing the right font for the infographic is crucial as it directly affects the readability, visual appeal, and overall effectiveness of your infographic. Things you need to consider when choosing a font are: the first one is a readable font. So make sure the font you choose is easy to read, even if it is small size. Avoid decorative font, and the best font is should be a sans serif font like Arial, Helvetica, and Roboto. These fonts are recommended for the infographic due to the cleanness and the modern look of the font. Okay, the second one is about the consistency. Choose the font that are consistent with your brand or the product itself or the information that you deliver or the overall design style of your infographic. If you are using a multiple font, make sure that they are complement each other and it create a harmonious visual hierarchy to it. Okay, the third one is about the contrast. Consider using a contrasting font to create a visual interest and emphasize important information. For me, contrast is more likely to be a color. So contrast in color can help guide the reader's eye and draw the attention to key point in your infographic. Look at the example over here. Notice that we can easily read the second text compared to the first one. However, be aware not to overdo it, as using too many contrasting font, it can make your infographic look very messy. So remember, the font that you choose for your infographic should enhance your overall visual appeal and effectively in delivering your message. Okay, the last one is about hierarchy. In this example, in this sample is they have a poor hierarchy. So hierarchy is an important design principle in infographic that help guide the viewer's attention and organize the information in a visually appealing and effective manner. As you remember the previous slide, we learned about the hierarchy of the infographic. So here are some mistakes by this designer when he or she creating this infographic. So the first one is a headline and the titles. Designers should consider using a bold and larger font for the headline to grab the viewer's attention. The second one is a body text. So the designer choose the readable font for the body text, which is a serif font, which is good, but please try to consider, you guys try to consider using a sans serif font instead of serif. Even though serif font is good for reading, but try to consider a sans serif font, because sans serif font looks more elegant, more premium, more better in making an infographic. So if the main title are using a sans serif font, you should use a sans serif font also, even though it's a different typeface or different font. Okay, try to have a similarity in terms of a type of the serif font. Okay, so the third one is a white space. Designer didn't effectively using a white space technique. White space can also help creating a hierarchy. By considering a white space, we can leave enough space around each element to give them breathing room and avoid cluttering. This can make this infographic look more organized and visual appealing. So bear in mind, the goal of creating a hierarchy in infographic is to make the information easy to understand for the viewer. By considering the 3 tips over here, you guys can create a clear and effective visual hierarchy that enhance the overall impact of your infographic. So these are some common problems that we discussed just now that occur in this infographic, and I believe all of you guys have this kind of a problem. It's essential to carefully review and evaluate your infographic to ensure that it effectively communicates the message and provide the accurate and relevant information to the audience and to me, because I'm giving you a mark. Step 2, we will talk about research. We try to take a look at the other designer or a professional designer to fix our problem regarding the infographic of weather just now. So this is the example of infographic that I take it from the internet as our research. Based on this all example, or we can consider the same category of infographic about weather. What are the similarity of all this example that you can see? They share the same background color, and if you notice that most of it share the same color scheme, and they all are iconic in their own creative way. So as you can see, they share the same background color, which is the color is most likely is a blue and white, or the sky blue, or the dark blue, maybe this one. This first one, dark blue or navy blue. This one is sky blue. Okay, the second is a color scheme. Most of the design is using a cool color. You notice that they're using a blue, kind of blue, dark blue, dull blue, and some of it using a warm color like this one. They're using a warm color just to create a contrast to it. Then the last one is iconic. So as mentioned in the step 1 just now about identify problem, when building an infographic, icon is most of the visual element compared to the text and number. So in the all example here, they use a flat type of icon, and certain part of the data you can see they're using a isometric icon over here. This one is a type of isometric. Okay, all of it is a icon, simple flat icon. Okay, among all the example here, I personally love this one because this is the most effective infographic from the others, because the design also be clean, quite clean. Clean meaning that they have a white space and the hierarchy is properly arranged. It also draw our eyes to focus on the center of the infographic over here. You can see that our eyes will start to focus over here. The usage of the font is consistent and complementary. As you can see, they have a lot of text and they have a different type of font over here. Okay, however, there are several things that we need to critique. For example, even the hierarchy can draw your attention, but the flow is quite chaotic. I don't know where we're gonna start to read it. Is it from here, this one, or from here, or from this one, the dark blue here over here? Because our eye also attract to this one. There are also too much information and too much text that need to be read. Okay, too many description need to be read. So bear in mind, there's no perfect infographic, but there is a lot of good infographic that we can use to stimulate or to generate our ideation and to study when develop our own infographic. Next step is to make the right choice based on our research just now. When creating an infographic, it's important to consider the visual style to ensure that the infographic is visual, appealing and engaging. So here are some visual styles to consider when selecting the icon that you want to use. So we have a flat outline, a flat fill, which is same as this one, but this one is filled with the color, and the shaded fill, we have a shadow kind of effect, 3D icon, illustrated outline, it's like a cartoon, and the last one is isometric. It's quite popular when design your infographic. You can see from the internet, and you guys also can consider to using it. Second thing you need to consider is a color scheme. Either you want to use a pastel color, basic color, or a cheerful color, or a vintage and retro color. So if you find hard to decide on color, please ask for a help from Mr. Google. So here I list two websites that I personally used when creating a design. The first one is a coolers.co, and then the second one is a color.adobe.com. So here is another three website that I oftenly use, but you can try because they already provide a color scheme that's suitable for designing a certain things. For example, the flatUIcolors.com. Most of the color is quite cheerful and some of it is quite dull, and it is recommended tools of color when you creating an apps. To me, it's not suitable for infographic because the color is too bright and vibrant. Moving along to the step number 4 is develop the idea. So you can start develop using any software. So I recommend you guys to use Adobe Illustrator. So before you start develop your infographic, consider to develop a multiple sketch along the way so that you can have a better idea to choose from. So come up with at least minimum two idea, so that you have you can have a different idea in creating your infographic. So after polishing your idea, and then ask your friend about for the opinion, or your family members, then definitely you can come up with the creative output. By the way, don't ask me is it correct, which one is better, that kind of question I will not answer, because I'm evaluate your assignment, not giving the option or idea unless during the face-to-face consultation. Okay, as you can see, this is the final output. Okay, they have this kind of color because we want to create the contrast, and then the icon also represent nicely with the bold text over here. Okay, and all the data is arranged properly with the legend over there, and then we also insert the graph that represent the temperature, the wind, the humidity, and the barometer. Okay, that's the final output of the infographic. So you can see the before and after. It's quite huge different in terms of icon and color. Okay, so we already covered the 5 steps over here. So before we end our lecture, I want to share with you guys a personal tip about how to enhance your design. It's not about the infographic, maybe any design, including the video production. So one simple but effective technique is to stepping outside from your house or your desk to boost your creativity. I mean, stepping outside mean you just ignore your work, stop for a 25 minutes, so that you can boost your creativity. So in just 25 minutes of walking, for example, either in the city or in the park, memory yourself, it can increase your connectivity function and help you to generate the fresh idea. But if you are unable to leave your house or go for the walk, don't worry, because you still can try another activity like playing games, cooking, or watching a TV for 25 minutes. Then when you come back to your desk and take a fresh look at your design, you likely find that there's something that you need to be tweaked or improve or modify. So remember, creativity can be found in unexpected places. Maybe it's in the lorong, under the bridge. So don't afraid to try a new approach to get the creative juice of flowing. And incorporating breaks or engaging in enjoyable activity can stimulate your mind and lead to the better design outcome. So you should give a try and see the difference it can make in your creative process. So until then, thanks for watching and goodbye.